Greetings and salutations, everyone. Thank you for joining me this evening. It is the last night of January. Happy New Year! Happy New 2020. Happy New Year of the Rat. Happy Year of the Emperor. Happy Imbolc. I hope y'all are having a great new moon. I hope you're having a wonderful year so far. I hope you're staying happy and healthy and hydrated and active and all that stuff that we're supposed to do in the winter, and maybe even painting. That's what I try to do. As you know, I am Tracy Keziah Sword behind Happy Day Paintings, and sometimes I muster up the what with for to do paint-along videos. You don't have to paint along, but it's strongly encouraged. It's a lot of fun. It's very therapeutic. And I just think it's something that everybody can do. I try to make it really easy. Used to talk drunk folks into doing these, or not into, but through paint-alongs at the paint and sip classes in St. Paul, and then I did a little bit of sort of catering in the Idaho area, and now I am trying to focus more on my art. So prints are for sale. The online store is going up in February. The very last day, we're taking a big leap and we're launching the online store. So that's going to be 2/29/2020. How cool is that? I figured it should be a good, getting it in, I don't know. Anyway, we're doing the things, guys. We're doing the things. We're eating the frogs, whatever expression you want to use. So, thank you for joining me and being here while we do that. That being said, again, you don't have to paint, but you're encouraged. If you are going to paint, this is something I'm going to do in oil. You're welcome to do it in acrylic. You're welcome to do it in crayon. You're welcome to do whatever medium you're comfortable with, and whatever you feel like adding or not doing is also totally up to you. The beauty of painting is that it is your own world inside that window of the canvas. So, on my palette today, I have a lot of beautiful colors, you'll notice. I like to talk about how inspiration can come from anywhere. I think that it's funny, some of the most beautiful things I've seen have been framed by some of the most ordinary or mundane things that you would imagine. So, life's funny like that. Tonight's inspiration for this painting was brought to you on a napkin all the way from Cabo San Lucas. I was lucky enough to go there with a friend not too long ago while they were working on some stuff, and some other friends are there now. Gosh, what a wonderful place to be in January. And anyway, on that note, if you find yourself, just munching tacos somewhere warm and inspiration strikes you, sometimes you let it pass, that's fine. Sometimes you scrawl it down on a napkin. As you can maybe make out, there's not a whole lot on here, but there's enough. I have Roy G. Biv written in the water and in the sky. This sunset that happened right at that, it's like two seas meeting at that peninsula there. Gorgeous rock formations. This sunset was the full spectrum of colors. Roy G. Biv, for us science nerds out there, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet is the full color spectrum. The one that you see in the rainbows, the one you see in the prisms, the one that makes all white white and all black black, ironically, depending on how you're looking at it, whether it's light or paint. That's a whole nother deal. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet is the order that nature puts the colors in. That's what we're going to do tonight, twice, in a lovely, gorgeous sunset on the Cape of Cabo San Lucas. Additionally, I hope you have all your painting stuff ready. I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I have my two, all the ones but what I thought. I have my two pretty standard painting brushes here. My fan brush, which I love for covering ground and getting a lot of really fun textures. I also have my more detailed angle brush that is straight lines, edges, squares, you know, whatever you need, but a little bit more fine pointed than this guy. Pretty much do everything with these. We might bust out one of these later at our discretion. You can always also use the back of the paintbrush. We will get there. So, to start off, I have recycled an old canvas. You might be able to see that there's a little bit on there. That's okay. The underneath layer is drying. That's going to be my gesso. I'm going to go ahead and start in the middle and in the bottom with red. How much fun is that, and how often do you get to say that? I'm going to go ahead and do it with my fan brush, and what I'm going to actually do before I get the red paint is dip it in oil. If you've already done the paint because you were so excited, I don't blame you. Red is an awesome color to start off with, and go to town with it. Just go ahead, dip your oil real quick. If you're using acrylics, replace oil with water. Pretty simple stuff. We're going to go boop, nice and soggy. I don't know if you can see it dripping there. And then we're going to go red. I have a couple of different reds, but I'm going to start with my most violent red. I'm going to go all the way across that horizon line. And because there's a painting underneath, I have additional texture. When I put the gesso on for this last one, because I had to do 2 layers, I tried to keep in mind the texture that I was going to be doing on this painting of a lot of strokes this way, and I tried to make that underneath texture sort of bleed through in a way that will be beneficial and helpful for my next painting on top. Like I said, we're going to do this on the horizon and on the bottom. We're not going to go all the way across here, but we are going to go about 2/3 of the way at least. Let's start with half. And then I'm going to consult my napkin. It looks like, according to the napkin, you can go all the way across. I'm going to, because I just really love all the color. And again, just a little bit of that oil makes it more likely to move across the canvas. I want to say viscous, but it might be less viscous when it's more fluid. And the fun thing is, it's okay to go a little bit more than you want to even, because the next color, orange, is going to play off of that red really well. You're going to have that zone where they're going to blend in the middle, and you're going to get red-orange, which, if you reference a color wheel, is always the one that's going to come up between the two. Yeah, so essentially we're doing this in a sunset. Okay, so I am going to have a little bit of cloth here, and I'm going to not stress about beating the devil out of the paint brush, but I am going to try and get all of the extra red before I move on to the orange, just because I want to make sure the orange that I'm adding is really orange and it's not being muted on both sides by red, but picking up the red from the canvas from a single direction. No one has yet been harmed during the making of this video. Boink! So, we've got our nice orange. And I'm going to make sure to get from the white down into the red so that, again, the orange has a chance to be on top. Alright, we're going to go twice as much yellow and then really bring it down. because I think it'll lighten that. And I am going to make sure to do this again. All these steps, very technical. Boop. Swap. I don't know. Noises help. I think I just flicked paint onto my oven. So, I really went to town with that last stroke there, and it, I think, really paid off. You get a lot of that dense color up at the top. Don't be afraid to have too much paint on the canvas. It's just going to take longer to dry, and that's okay. We have time. Did you see that? How I kind of pulled it down through? Too much red. All right. So, we've officially gone from yellow. The green is one that was definitely there, but I don't want to overemphasize it. So now instead of doing that as the next step, we're going to start from the top with our violet and work our way down. Now, violet and indigo are always kind of like a weird, you know, so we're going to go blue, indigo, violet, kind of a good, yeah? Okay, that means ta-da! And with the top, you can start by painting the actual top of the canvas, and then pull it down after that if you want to. It's a nice reservoir to pull from. You might notice that I spend a lot of time going back and forth over the same area that looks mostly already painted. The reason is this brush and all brushes will cover the tooth of the canvas, and it won't necessarily get in between where those little teeny circles of white show up. And when I'm poking at it, I'm just making sure to get inside every single tooth of the canvas. Alright, so this is where I'm going to default back to this for you guys, and for myself, my horizon line is where it resets, and I'm going to want to outline this coast of the cove, this coast of the cove that we're in here, of the town up here, just ever so slightly, but it mostly doesn't infringe on the other colors is what it looks like. And because I want that purple to really pop, I'm going to blue violet with both blue and violet in the same areas, but I think it's going to look like a nice go-between. Meaning I'm going to use this color Alright, so you see as I bring I'm not sure how well you can see from there, but if you're following along, you'll really be able to see on your canvas, and then you'll be able to see at the end when I zoom in. As I bring that blue indigo down, as it ever so slightly brushes that yellow, boom, the green shows up. You don't need to add it. It's not something you need to go back and forth to make. As soon as you come across it, it's going to be happening pretty quick. And now, because I've got this, with all these different colors, I'm ever so gently, no, I don't even need to do it yet. I'm going to come back up here and finish the sky, and then I'll come back and I'll do it. Oh, it's got too many colors. So, what I'm debating about doing, that I almost started, and then I should have, I don't know, is swiping across this ocean with this hodgepodge of colors that we've picked up, blending that blue into the yellow for the green. Now, you'll notice I've left a teeny bit of white over here. We're going to come back in with our peninsula, and we're going to add some geographical features into this sunrise, sunset. If at any point you are in love with what you have painted and you want to stop, you're welcome to do that. But that being said, we're about halfway done. So, and the idea is that we're not so much painting waves, although you're welcome to do each individual one if you want. We're kind of just doing really breezy, gentle broad strokes to do a calm ocean depth in sort of that we're implying, breaking up that really bold sunrise color a little bit. And then I'm going to go back and bring those purples back down from the sky. Now, let's say you're using, like me, the ones that are labeled blue, indigo, yada yada. If at any point the stuff coming out of there isn't exactly what you want, add white. Make it a little bit brighter. That color is really going to jump out quite a bit more with even just the teeniest bit of adjustment. White, etc. That's where your color wheels like this come in handy. You've got all your lights and darks on the back, all of your complementary colors on the other side. If you want to make your yellow into brown, you're going to mix it with this one, kind of thing. Fun stuff. That's a whole other story. We'll get to that another time. Alright, so we've got those colors in. Man, is this an intense sunset. Am I right? I want those purples to jump out a little bit more. I'm going to do a teeny bit of lighter stuff, just threaded throughout as best I can without turning it crazy. Having a rag to just wipe your hands or your brush or whatever you need to extra paint onto, wipe off something that you just did on accident. Very handy. And then at the end you get a fun sort of a tie-dye. Okay. So I hope you saw what I did there. Just removing some paint around. Now we're going to come in with the tricky stuff. I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to go from this to my angle brush, which is here. I am going to go ahead and go to the ultramarine or indigo, the really dark blue. If you want to use dark purple, dark red, anything that's going to be that silhouette color, you are welcome to. Alright. So, at this point, I want to make sure that you guys know if you want to do a cute little loop on the side, and that's all you want to do, that's all you need to do, that's cool. If you want to do a cute little sun right there, call it good, you're good, you do you. I'm doing this with this very specific little archway because I want mine to look like Cabo San Lucas. If you're the same, by all means, paint along. If not, like I said, power to you. You do you. You might notice I'm using just the one color, but as I pick up the stuff from the sunset, I'm going to be resonating those colors in the places that they would be if it was sort of vibing off of those things. So that's really fun. Be gentle with those. Don't overwork them. One stroke. Try and leave it if you can. Feel free to add, you know, some trees, some shapes for buildings, things like that. Don't go too crazy with it. The simplicity a lot of times makes it. So that's the tough part sometimes. advice for making these awkward edges meet is to either, if you saw, I would run all the way across and then I would do a flourished blend, that end of the line, or go ahead and do all your lines this way and then do your outline shape. That's going to hide your fill-in edges. Or you can do them maybe vertical, maybe they look like trees. I don't know, again, you do you. I'm going to come back in here with a little bit of dark boxes, basically is what I'm going to make, which will be really easy to do with the square of this brush. And then that'll allow me to come back in afterwards with little dots of yellow to sort of illuminate as those lights are coming on in those buildings. The peninsula looks good. The other thing I want to add, I have to do a couple of rocks in the water up here and a few little boats. I'm going to leave the boat that mixed color and then come back in with white or maybe yellow when I do these lights for those sails. I'm going to leave it at one boat instead of, it looks like there might have been 3 boats in my napkin. Alright. Might have overdone it. I don't know. I put some trees on there, but I don't know if I like them, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to poke their texture to spread them out. And if you want, you could add a few stars in there too, which I think I'm going to do. Nice. That one was an accidental shooting star because I just like, it was supposed to be a star, but it's falling. Okay. So, make sure my brush is at least mostly clean, and then I'm going to scoop up a lot of yellow and try to wipe it on in the shape of sails for the sailboat. tough to see, but I think I'm going to sign it and leave it and change it later. I like it. I guess I moved you too soon. Oh. Maybe a bird for good measure.